Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Alright, guys, so before we get into what we're going to talk about, I just want to remind everyone how we closed out last week and what we talked about in the weekly update. If we do see the pullback, all right, early on in the week, we are going to anticipate that it gets bought up. And even if it doesn't happen this week, we're still going to anticipate it gets bought up, which probably will do so from around, down here at 521.95. Now, we got a few key levels we're going to talk about. We're going to run through the indices, SPY and QQ, IWM. Then we're going to go over Mag 7 stocks. And then I have a few trade ideas or some hot stocks I'm paying attention to that you can pay attention to. Put it on your radar for you to make some money. All right, so we'll start off over here on QQQ, and I do just want to point out, you could very clearly see on the 4-hour time frame here, you do have this rising wedge pattern. We do have the bearish divergences going on over here on the 4-hour RSI. We can also see them present on the 1-hour RSI, but I do just want to say the structure over here, we do have bearish structure going on here. Typically, guys, forget the pattern. All it is price getting tighter and tighter and tighter. It's compressing. And what does compression lead to? It leads to expansion. I am not anticipating a big move down like that. I am anticipating a move like that. That's probably going to be bought up. I'm not saying it's going to come tomorrow. I'm going to give you the levels to pay attention to. All right. But I'm going to say where you are right now, there's not really much to do. All right. We don't have a clear direction going on. You're going to just trade the intraday price action you're given. But let's go over the levels you're watching. Okay. On the downside, the key level to pay attention to is going to be 527.92. Underneath 527.92, we're underneath the 4-hour 21 EMA. I know you slipped up over here and you slipped up over here, but in reality, that's normally where buyers are going to hold, and most of the time when you do start losing it, you start a larger sell. All right, so we lost it over here. What happened? You fell another $6. That would be the equivalent of you losing here and you coming all the way back down to 521.95, and that is exactly what I was just talking about. That is the next key level if we start breaking down. So I'm just going to mark that in white right there. All right, on the upside, you're watching 532.10 and 533.82. That is your supply zone right there. I'm not saying you're going to bust straight up through it. All this pattern over here, people, think it's just bearish. Guess what? These things can break up too. All it is compression. It leads to expansion. It can be in the upward direction. It can be in the downward direction. I'm telling you right now, if you can get over 533.82, it's probably going to be in the upward direction. We're very close to all-time highs, 540.81. We could see how that weekly candle closed last week. All right. Just like that, what happened? You had a pullback, it got bought up, all right? But you had an absolute massive move up, and it was actually for 4 weeks over there, and then you kind of went sideways over here, and now we are starting to move up. So if we do end up seeing this thing break down, this rising wedge pattern over here, we're going to anticipate buyers are going to step in for a higher low. I'm guessing that would take place off of 521.95. So on the downside, you're watching 529.01. That was today's low. You're watching 527.92. Again, that's your key level. If you lose that, we're talking 525.97 and then 521.95. On the upside, you have 532.10 to 533.82. If you can take out 533.82, guess what? All right, you have absolutely nothing until you come back up to all-time highs. If you want a level in between them, above 533.82, we're talking 536.04. All right, now coming over here to SPY. All right, and we have a similar looking chart over here, except it's not exactly in a perfect rising wedge pattern, but we have similar look over here on both of them. All right, where price is just kind of getting tight up here, and I don't know if it's going to break down, but it's definitely something we're going to talk about. All right, and also you do have the 4-hour bearish divergence going on right up here as well, so that's something to pay attention to. On the downside, we are paying attention to 598.49 and then 595.54. 595.54 cannot hold. That is where that 4-hour 21 EMA comes into play. If that cannot hold, all right, if price does not do this, come right back up to 598.49, then we are probably coming all the way back down here. All right, real talk. That's going to be where the 21 EMA is over here. Price is getting really tight in that rising wedge pattern. I'm not going to say it's perfect like over on there on QQQ, but it is definitely showing the same exact thing, which is that compression, which typically leads to, not typically, it always leads to expansion. That's just how it works. All right, you notice how you had a big swing up, you had a big swing down, right? Smaller swing up, got pretty tight, another smaller swing up, pull back, another smaller swing. All right, like it's the art of diminishing returns over here until we pull back and suck more buyers into the equation, or maybe we pop off of CPI this week. Really not sure exactly how this is going to go, but I'll tell you right now, we are likely going to be breaking out of this in one way or the other. So on the downside, that key level is going to be 595.54. Underneath 598.49. We're talking 595.54, 593.20, 591.05, and then 589.08, which that is the level that I think would hold if we come back and test that. Because again, we closed out with that. I anticipate if we do pull back, it's either going to close out the week bearish and get bought up the next week, or it's going to just produce a lower wick and then we get bought up. That is what I'm thinking. Okay. On the upside, we have today's high at 601.25, above there 602.48. All right, 605.37, 608.13, and 613.23. If you are someone who cannot get levels that give you nice reactions, you need nice reactions. You need good levels to trade properly in this market. If you are not yet there, steal my levels. They're here for the taking. I want you to take them, copy them. I give a Monday through Thursday update every single day, Monday through Thursday, and then we have a weekly update every weekend that is going to cover the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, QQ, SPY, the Mag 7 stocks, all right, the Magnificent 7, the big boys, all right, and then I always are giving you trade ideas to go off of. I want you to make money. Make your money, okay? I am currently in Greece. I am running a 40% off the first month coupon code. That is code Greece. I will be live streaming every day. We absolutely killed it today, and I anticipate on continuing to absolutely kill it. All right, so join me. That link will be down below, and just use code Greece. That is code GREECE for 40% off of your first month. All right, but yeah, on the upside, above 601.25, that's today's high. We're just going to be watching 602.48. Now, that is going to be a key level right here. I want to see price get above. All right, above 602.48. I think we're probably going to push straight up to 605.37. Then on the downside, we're just going to watch today's low. All right, 598.49. You don't got to make it complicated. Underneath 598.49, we have 595.54. And like we pointed out on the 4-hour time frame, that is the level that needs to hold. You're either going to, if you break underneath 598.49, you're either going to go like that, come right back up, or you're going to break under there. And we probably are going to get down here, which, going off the weekly chart, I am anticipating that would be bought. All right, so that is SPY over here. I'm just going to come over here to VIX, and I'm going to point out you did close out green on the day. I know you have a red candlestick over here, but that's because you had that gap up. All right, you're green over here on VIX, you're green on QQ, green on SPY, green on IWM, and VIX is also green. That is it's a little fishy, eh? All right, I'll also point out you have this 15-minute bullish divergence going on here, and you're starting to perk up from it. All right, 4-hour RSI, you have a very slight bullish diverge going on here, but it's nothing like over there. It's nothing to be really concerned yet. But again, we do have CPI later in the week. That is probably going to be bringing us bigly in one direction or the other, judging by, again, that compression we just talked about on QQQ and SPY. Which, screw the rising wedge pattern, screw patterns in general, just follow your market structure, okay? We could very clearly see things are getting really tight over here on QQQ and SPY, and that is going to lead to our next move. It's going to be up to all-time highs, or it's going to be down. We could hit all-time highs for this week. We don't know. For all we know, we could do it. All right, we could do it, but I don't know. I'm not going to say what I likely think we're going to be doing. I think things are looking like we can continue pumping. But I'm a go with the flow kind of guy. I'm going to trade whatever's in front of me. I'm here to make money, and I'm not here to really. I'm here to tell you the probabilities. We trade with the probabilities, but in reality, I don't really need to predict the markets to make my money, and neither should you. We're going to just wait, and we're going to see how this goes. But I'm telling you right now, if you get what you want before, like tomorrow, if you get it before Wednesday, it's not a bad idea to take that off. Okay, and then just wait and see the reaction to what we're having, guys. We have setups every single week. It's like in my Discord, typically have 2 to 4 50 to 100% gainers, opportunities every single week. My execution, yeah, we usually hit those every single week. We got 100% something on Amazon today. There you go. All right, PayPal, that's another one that's loading. Again, this week, I'll give you a bunch of trade ideas that I think can bring you 100% gains over the next 1 to 2 weeks. At the end of the video, just stay tuned. But if you are new to the channel, just make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we're putting out these videos. It's currently 11:43 p.m. over here in Greece. I'm going to be going to sleep, and then we're going over to Krita tomorrow morning. We're leaving here at 3:30 in the morning, so I'm a bit tired here. But yeah, at least over the next 2 weeks, I'm definitely going to have an inconsistent upload schedule over here. It will be after market close. I'll be staying up late to record these videos for you guys. And I enjoy these videos as well. So it's not just for you guys. I do definitely enjoy recording these. It's one of my favorite. It is my favorite part of the day, aside from actual trading. Um, but there's that. So yeah, hit the notification bell if you're new here to the channel. Welcome to the team. Welcome to this is your one-way ticket to making money in the market. Okay, you come to these videos. You prepare with me. All right, each and every week, Monday through Thursday. Every Friday through Sunday, we put out a weekly update. It's typically going to be on Saturday. Um, yeah, you're gonna have a really good time in the market. I promise. And if you're not having a good time right now, just continue putting in the good reps. I'm going to show you what those look like over the next few weeks, next few months with me. Just spend that time with me, and I guarantee you are going to improve as a trader. It's kind of really hard not to if you're applying yourself here. All right, so that's buying QQQ. Let's just come over here to IWM. I'm just pointing out we didn't reach the 200 DMA yet. This is something that it is going to act as a magnet. I know you didn't hit it over there. I know you didn't hit it over there. Did not hit it over there. Okay, but this is something that continuously gets tested, gives us a reactions. All right, it is continuously a key level for us, and that is up at 216 right now. We are currently only at 213.39. I have to assume this thing is going to continue bumping up here to 216. Not saying it's going to happen, before CPI, but I think it's very likely going to happen before CPI. And if you pull back tomorrow, I think you're probably going to pump off CPI. That's just how things are shaping up to me. All right, just an opinion. Okay, and like I said, if you're looking nice and green, you get what you want on your trades. All right, tomorrow it's not the worst idea to take them off and then just de-risk into the event, and then boom, after the news catalyst has passed, we can see how the market reacts. And I guarantee we're going to have setups to trade. So you don't have to worry about FOMO, guys. You don't. We have, again, 2 to 400% gainers every single week. Okay, every week. There's not going to be another channel that's going to put those things in your radar. I guarantee that one. I will do it consistently. I'll give you everything, a one-stop shop here. Except it's not shop, it's absolutely no cost to you. That's why I say hit the subscribe notification bell. It's like you're paying for a couple $100 in service over here. These videos, these should be going for $500 to $1,000 a month. Guess what? They're not. I want you to make money. I got no other incentive over here than for all of us to just make a shit ton of money in the market and grow as traders, okay? But yeah, IWM, I'm anticipating we're going to be moving up. If we were to pull back over here to 210 before CPI, then I think we're probably going to catch a bounce off there. All right, so there was that. All right, now let's go over the MAG 7 stocks. We're going to start off with the MAGS ETF. Does this look like something that's about to fall off a cliff to you? No. If you said yes, please just change how you are looking at charts. I am someone who trades with probability. If you are going to be a consistently profitable trader, I promise you're going to need to align yourself with probabilities. If you're thinking the probability is bearish right now, you're wrong. You're just wrong. I've been doing this, for quite some time. I have this track record over here with just these, YouTube updates over here consistently. I really haven't missed many uploads over the past 3 to 4 years. You can go back on my videos. They've consistently, the technical analysis consistently gotten better, but we've been pretty accurate for, years now. All right, and I'd say we are kind of insanely accurate at this point. And I'm just going to tell you, yeah, odds favor upside here, okay? If you could break above 53.71, break above 53.35, we're talking 53.71, and above there, you have nothing until you come all the way up here, okay? You're getting into this range over here, and you're not in it yet. All right, so I am anticipating you do end up going higher, and if I had to guess, we're going higher tomorrow, boys and girls. All right, now coming over here to my favorite Mag 7 stock right now, Amazon. All right, this is what we pulled out 100% on. above 217.85, guys. We're talking 219.97, then 225 all the way up there. You have 225.86, 228.06. Okay, we'll just look at the weekly chart. I'm telling you right now, this candle is very likely going to expand here. You only have a 2.3% move on the week, and from last week's high, you're only up less than 2%. Typically when we see this consolidation, especially when we have a nice base to go off of over here, off the 200 DMA and the weekly 21 EMA, and then you start pushing up, you hit it with one of these candles, you close near the high, you're likely going to see a second week continuation candlestick. Um, that is what we have here. You know, it's kind of the same situation as over here. You just finally start pushing up off your consolidation. Well, what happened? From that close, you did go 7% higher the next week. Now, that was off earnings. I understand. But what about over here? Okay, you have the same thing where you reverted to the mean. You had that consolidation. I'd say you have a lot more consolidation over here than you did over here. And what happened? All right, you did have a 9% week, and that was done without earnings. Oh, what happened over here? Consolidation, then you pushed up. All right, boom. Okay, you push through the highs over here, and you actually, from that high, you went $8. Okay, you currently only went 3. I am anticipating a move all the way up here. Okay, minimum, we're talking 219.97. Watch today's high at 217.85. And yeah, above there, 219.97, then 225.86. On the downside, if it does retest 214.84, I'm anticipating it gets bought. I wouldn't really want to see it pull all the way back down there, but if you do, you could long it. Use right here as your stop, 212.88. All right, if you are, let's look at it this way. Long, risk, target. It's a 1 to 2 right there, but in reality, as long as it holds over here, you're likely going a lot higher, and you're probably, I'm thinking 225. It's on the table, and that point, you're looking at a 4 to 5 to 1 risk to reward ratio. That's what we're talking about, baby, okay? You start trimming up here into that, and then you can hold runners for that move I just talked about. All right, you know, I currently took everything off but a few contracts. We're just holding some runners in case, you know, these things want to go 200, 300% on us. Um, but, you know, I am just saying this is probably, this and GOOG are the nicest Mag 7 stocks right now. Right now, let's go over here to GOOG. Google, you're pushing up to 178.13, that high right there. Okay, I'm just again going to show the weekly chart. You have this base, you're breaking out just like Amazon over there. You hit it off with the break and retest off of 168.24. You're now hitting it with the gap and go this week above 178.13. You really don't have anything until you come all the way up here to 183.34. You can see that level here on the, nope, that is the wrong level right there. We're talking right there, 183.63. That is the exact level. I'm sorry, I must have moved that today. I had the right level before, then I moved it apparently. All right, but above 178.13, we're talking 181.13 and then 183.63. Guys, if the Mag 7 stocks are going to be moving higher, that is fuel for the Nasdaq to push higher, and that's why I want to remind everyone that rising wedges, they do not always break down. You can go on to the patternsite.com and you could see that actually, yeah, close to 50% of the time they break up. And if you have a bearish pattern failing, that is when you get the strongest moves up, just like when you have a bullish move failing. All right, you know, this is a pen over here. Well, you had a little false breakout and then boom, you got sucked back down, and it created the biggest down move you had in a really long time. All right, like that's what happened. Okay, you had this pen going on over here. Oh, you're breaking out, you're breaking out. You had one day before you got sucked back down underneath that big level 202.88, and then you had another false breakout the next day, and then you really just got sucked down into oblivion. You know, it's the same way as QQQ and SPY over there. If we break up past those key levels I was talking about, 533.82 on QQQ, all right, like this thing probably does just push straight up to all-time highs, okay? I mean, of course, you have 536.04 to watch over there, but yeah, 540.81, guys, above here, that's 2%, 1.3%, not even, all right? So that's really what I'm talking about, okay? But GOOG, Amazon, those are the hottest stocks right now in the Mag 7 stocks. Coming over here to Nvidia, you have a pretty similar consolidation pattern going on where you're getting all tight. All right, you're getting tight. Above today's high at 145, you're going to target 148.97. That is still, all right, within the realm of this rising wedge here. So even if you get that, watch out. Okay, but we will see. We'll see what happens. Again, we're not trying to predict anything. We don't need to do so to make money. I'm just telling you, We do have a news catalyst coming up, and if everything is kind of consolidating like that, well, some things are consolidating like that, not everything. I just showed you Google and Amazon looking amazing. But some of these things are, it's something we should keep on the radar. And hey, if you're up, if you just nailed it Monday, you nail it Tuesday, don't be a greedy pig into Wednesday. Okay, you just don't need to do it. So that's just my reminder there. But no financial advice will be given here on this channel. On the downside, you're watching 139.62. If 139.62 breaks, we start a larger pullback. Maybe we do end up coming all the way back down here to that swing low at 132.92. And maybe, just maybe, we test that 200, but probably not with how everything's looking here on the higher time frames. Not looking bad. If we see a pullback, we're anticipating it gets bought. Coming over to Tesla. All right, very strong day to start off the week over here. From 280 up to 310, $30 move, 10% intraday move. I'm anticipating this goes higher. We're going to see if it gets rejected here at the daily 21 EMA, but above there we have 331.39, and above there 355. All right, so that is Tesla. On the downside, if you lose 294.86, you're probably going to come back down to last week's low at 273.21. Coming over to Apple. I'm not going to say this thing looks good. There's stocks that'll tell you it's not time to watch them right now. And, I watch the Mag 7 stocks to let you know which one's heating up. They all go at different times. All right. And I'm telling you right now, the ones to watch are GOOG and Amazon. I told you about Amazon sub 110 or 210. I told you about it right over here on the 200. Now it's rocketing. You made your money. Okay. I also told you about Meta before it went. You made your money. I also told you how GOOG was setting up coming into this week. You made your money. Told you to be watching over here, but more importantly, I told you how it is coming into this week, how we're probably getting up here. You can make your money. All right. Nvidia, it's not time to play that right now. Meta, it's not time to play that right now. We'll go over the analysis on it right now. Apple, it's not time to play that right now. We're going to watch today's high over here on Meta, 705.19, and then above there, 725.01. Before this pullback day happened and we printed this, shooting star style candlestick here, I drew this arrow out ahead of time. Why? Because I wouldn't be surprised if we get a pullback that then gets bought off of 662.67 or 675.25. We talked about this in the weekly update just 2 days ago. On the downside, we're watching 688.65. You break under there, 675.25, and then 662.67. Like I said, there's no YouTube channel that's going to do this for you. I do it for absolutely no cost. I just ask you scratch my back. I scratch your back so often here on this channel. Just please remember to scratch my back and leave a like so we can, actually get some views on the channel, get some new eyeballs on the channel, and we could grow. There are a lot of other, massive accounts out there on, YouTube here. They just don't provide even close to the freaking value I do, and I don't understand why the YouTube algorithm hasn't picked me up yet. But hey, all right, I'll keep providing the most amount of value I could possibly provide over here for absolutely no cost to you. I just ask that you help me grow this channel. That's all it is. All right, but that's meant over here. We're gonna come over here to Microsoft, and you did end up pushing up to a new high ever so slightly today by 9 cents. Okay. I think this thing is going to 500 bucks. Next psychological level is going to be 480, and then you're talking 500 all the way up here. It's very, possible that we will get a pullback before that happens. You can see how the daily RSI does have that bearish divergence going on right as you push up into new all-time highs. If we get that pullback, it's clear as day buying opportunity. All right, so we'll see what happens over there. But, again, it's not time to play this. It's time to play Google and Amazon. That is that. Like I was saying over here in Apple, it's just not time. Okay, we can see on the weekly chart, if you could break above 209.48, all right, and then break above this weekly 21 and then get above 214.56, that's when you have this move to play. Until that happens, I really don't see a setup right here. If anything, it looks like, you had a nice impulse move down and you just have this controlled, bounce over here. What if you just, what if you just start up in another impulsive move down? At the end of the day, this is a big range. It's probably going to be a big move. I still favor the upside on this. I don't think it's likely that we take out 193.25, but it's possible. We'll see what happens. On the downside, you have 198.23. Well, you're going to be watching today's low. Underneath today's low at 200.02, you're watching 198.23, and then underneath there, you have 196.78 and then 193.25. Underneath 193.25, bad things happen. On the upside, you have 203.81. above there. Okay, you see how we have all these wicks going on around there. We can't get a daily close. If you get a daily close above this level right here, you're probably going to push 206.75. You can get above there. We're watching 209.48. All right, that is it over here on Apple, guys. And from here, I'm just going to bring it over here to my trade ideas. Okay, slash the hot stocks. Now, I already pointed out Amazon. We don't got to talk about it anymore. I think you're probably going to get that second week continuation. So it's something to keep on the radar, but it's also something I wouldn't just be buying and off here. I gave you the trade idea. If you do pull back into 214.84, you could buy there, you could risk 212.88, and you could target up here at 219.97, and then above there 225.86. All right, moving on over here to QBTS. This is something that I do think is going to take out this high up at 1977. It's currently at 18. June 20 expiration, you get just about 100% gain on a $2 move. So that is good. By the time you break out the new high here, if you're buying this week, it's a riskier position there, but those would go 100%. So that is something to keep on your radar if you are interested. Oklo, I've been talking about this guy for quite some time. I put it on your radar right before this move. It was on this day right over here. All right, and we got that. And then I put it on your radar when it was over here. And then we got that. And then we got to play this guy over here. Okay, it's looking amazing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's going to push new all-time highs above 59.14. We're talking $70 to $80, guys. This thing's going to be a big mover if it goes, and I think it's about to go. You pulled back in a controlled manner here to the 21 EMA on the daily time frame, and now you're pushing back up above 54.36, guys. We got nothing until 59.14. Obviously, we have supply sitting here. All right, so I'll just mark it out with a little zone going on here. Supply, 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 supply. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rejections here. If you break above 59.14, the move is going to be explosive. You're going to get another big day like this. All right, 10 to 20% is on the table that day. All right, but real talk, just stick to the levels. $70 to $80 incoming if you could break above 59.14. Another thing over here in the nuclear sector is going to be SMR. This has pretty much the same exact setup. You have this controlled pullback over here. It's getting tight. You're consolidating a bull flag above that daily 21 EMA. This is one that already did break out to a new high. I think it's about to continue going, but my nuclear stock of choice is going to be over here in Oklo, and I do think it is going nuclear right around the corner, just like I pointed out right over here, that it was also something that was going nuclear. And then guess what? Right over here, it was also something that went nuclear. All right, we caught a ripper. I'm telling you guys right now, I think the ripper is going to continue. All right, moving on over here to McDonald's. I told you when it was time, when it was going to be time to play McDonald's, I was going to tell you about it. I'm pretty sure we are going to be moving up from here above 305.12. We bounced off the 200 DMA here, off increasing volume, printing a nice hammer candlestick. A lot of times, guys, you're either going to base here and then move up, or you're just going to start moving up off when you have a look similar to this, okay? Like you have this going on right here. I imagine you're probably going to hit it with some boom boom candles, the next two daily candles, or we base out and then push up in the end. Above 305.12, we're talking 306.81 gap fill right there, and then we have 310.04. Expect rejection up here at 310.04, but the specific trade idea I speak of is above 305.12. Take calls up to 310.04. Expect rejection here at the daily 21 EMA. If it does break above, oh baby, you're coming back to the top of the range because you just swept the low of the range. You didn't sweep it, but it would have been a false breakdown, just like you had a false breakout right over here. And then you target the low of the range. It's typically just how that goes. Big one over here that I think 1 to 2 sessions, guys. We're going to have a big move up here, 76.46 all the way up to 79 schmeckles, 79 bucks. Weekly chart, guys. Inverse head and shoulders pattern. Okay. Consolidating in a tight manner over here, a tight range around this weekly 21, and now we can see that is about to flip. If this thing pushes through 74.15, that weekly cloud right there is going to flip back to bullish. Okay, and I'm just telling you right now, this is kind of like over here when you pull back. All right, and then you hit it with that, and you just continue higher after that, or you pull back, and then you hit it with that, and then you continue higher after that. I am anticipating a decent sized move up here to at least 76.46. That's going to be at the 200 DMA, if not $79. Okay, that is what I'm thinking. You broke the high on the same week. You went 5% above there. You broke the high on the same week. we can push 3.2%, or if you do break the high, I should say, we can push 3.2% to 76 bucks, but 5%, all right, doesn't quite bring you up to 79, but 6% does, 6.5. All right, next one I have for you is PLTR. This is one I think is getting ready to break above 135.28 and start that move up to 140, 145, and then 150. It's a tight base going on over here above previous all-time highs. You've actually consolidated for like 6+ weeks here, all right, in the same kind of area since over here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's technically 5 weeks. On the 6th week, we're breaking out of it. Very tight range over here, okay? This thing is likely about to break out. Above 133.49, we're talking 135.28, and then we have 140. That's PLTR for you. SMCI, I like the weekly chart over here. I think it looks really good. I don't know why my trend line moved, but it's just like that, guys. Touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point. This thing is about to go, if I had to take a guess. It's no guarantees, but I'm telling you right now, we printed 2 back-to-back inverted hammers over here, and now we got the gap, and it looks like it wants to go above 44.99. That is really the trigger level over here. Above 44.99, we're talking 47.80 and then 50.61. We can see here on the daily time frame, it's a key spot, but it's not so important. The big spot is going to be 44.99. This is where you had a false breakout over here. You only had one daily close above it. If we can get the daily close, I'm thinking 50 bucks. 50.61 is on the table and is probably going to be hit that week. All right, you had a big impulse move up. You consolidate in this controlled manner above the 200 DMA, above the weekly 21 EMA over there. And now we could see the weekly cloud did flip back to bullish. It doesn't look like a false breakout like that where you got sucked back down under. It looks like this thing wants to break up. So I just want proof that it's actually happening, which is going to be a break above 44.99 and specifically a daily close above that level. And then we're targeting 47.80, 50.61 over the coming trading sessions. HIMS. HIMS is one that is consolidating over here. I wish I just honestly held on to my HIMS over here. I've got no skin in the game over here on HIMS. But I'm just going to tell you right now, this thing is breaking out of this parallel channel / bull flag looking thing right here. You hit it with the break and retest today, got above 56.52. That is the range, all right, that you are now starting to break above. That is just about a $5 range there. Well, you just broke above that. $5 brings you all the way up here, 62 bucks, 61, 62 bucks. Above 59.29. We have 63.20, 65.89, and then all-time high is 72 bucks, 72.98. And I do think we're getting up there. I think this is definitely bullish consolidation. And you know, even if it were to break down, you probably get buyers over here around 46.35, right over here. ASTS. It's actually on the focus list, and this thing took off without me this morning. I was tight. Nah, I can't be too tight. We nailed Amazon today, and at the end of the day, you know, at least I know I'm always watching the right stuff. I'm tight that sometimes I'm a pussy though. I didn't want to buy the gap up this morning. I was literally just waiting for the gap fill, 31.27. We didn't get that. We went straight up. You went straight up, and it would have been 100, 200% right off the bat, depending on what expiration we're using. Regardless, from here, guys, if it consolidates for a little bit, it's probably just going to get ready for that move to all-time highs. That's what we're looking at now. Keep it on the radar. It's definitely one of the best looking weekly charts on the market right now. But I'm going to say after just gapping and going here, you know, I really wouldn't be chasing. I just gave you a bunch of trade ideas that aren't looking all risky like that. But I am going to say this is the heaviest volume we've had in a while here. The only heavier volume was over here, and it was just accumulation, and then you ended up pushing up. So yeah, I do think this thing is about to be moving to new all-time highs above 39.08, and then I think we're talking like 45, 50 bucks. That's ASTS for you. TTWO. This is the last one I'm going to put on your radar here. This is one that I think is just getting ready in this, you know, multi-week base here. We're talking 4 to 6 weeks of straight consolidation. I think above 240.78, this thing could push up to 250 pretty quick. Honestly, I don't think I'm even going to take this one, but it is something when I did my scan today, I picked up on. So, yeah, that's that, guys. And, you know, of course, bros, we're still looking for that thing to just either continue grinding up or we get another impulsive move that just takes out this high, 77.88, and then we push straight up to 80.62, and then we have all-time highs 86.88. Last one I will just point out, actually I have two more to point out. But hood over here, you pull back, put in a hammer candlestick off heavy volume. I have to assume this is probably going to continue getting bought here, at least for the next trading session above 77.80. Guys, we're probably pushing straight up to all-time highs, 85 bucks, all the way over here. See how it looks on the weekly chart. All right, I know you've gone pretty vertical, but we're so close that we're probably going to test it. And if you do get a pullback, it's a guaranteed buying opportunity for that move to all-time highs. All right, until proven otherwise, it's a guaranteed buying opportunity for that move. Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin, we talked about this in the weekly update, guys. It broke above 106.854, and now it's pushing straight up to 109.356. Above 109.356, we have nothing until 112K, 1,012K. Not 1,012K, I'm tired. 112,000K. If we get that move, I think MSTR and Coin are going to do some things. So let's just talk about them right here. I know you're really not getting all that much of a move over here in Coin, but I don't think it makes sense to break down from here. I think it makes much more sense to start moving up. And since it's not happening overnight, I have to assume it's going to start playing catch up at some point intraday. So I'm keeping it on the radar. Okay, you can mark out today's high. All right, and above today's high, at 258.25, we're talking 265.65. Above there, we have 277.01. Then I have to assume this goes 285 to 290 pretty quick. Probably that 300 cycle level. All right, you rejected the golden pocket there not too long ago. Okay, but at the same time, you've had this bullish consolidation above the 21 EMA. You found buyers twice in a row. You also have this level right here, this white level 265.65. That is your double bottom neckline. Yep. Bottom, bottom, double bottom. Here's your neckline. Break above 265.65. This thing probably does end up coming straight up here to 285, 290. So that's where I get that from. All right, so that's coin. MSTR, this is the one that I think is looking a lot better. I hate to say it, but yeah. And I did check out flow after the close today, and we did have some bullish flow coming in over here on early July calls. Okay. I mean multiple expirations, but honestly, we get a lot of bets, and a lot of these people on MSTR lose all of their money. So just keep that in mind when I bring up flow on MSTR. I've seen so many of these whales buying at the ask or above the ask for short-dated expirations. They do not close out the positions, and then they just lose the money. I've definitely seen it time and time again over here, but I'm just telling you, this thing is likely going to be now moving up. Above 390.101, that was your previous swing high over here. After getting that pullback to a higher low, you just made the higher high over there on the daily time frame, and on the weekly, we can see how this is set up. You get that inverted hammer candlestick, you're now pushing up off it, like one of the other setups we mentioned today. It's probably going to be pushing up. Next stop, 404.42 above there, 430.35, and then 444.94. All right, and with that being said, guys, that's what I have for you today. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to leave a like. I do hope you guys are absolutely killing it in this market. Again, if you would like to come live stream with me, even though I am on vacation, I will be live every morning, 1 to 2 hours off the open there. All right, and then some days maybe we're gonna go once we're back home. I'll just be live stream like normal. Okay, everything will be normal. But that's why I'm giving the 40% discount code right now. So if you do want to try it out for a discounted price, come trade with me live every single morning. Even though I'm on vacation, we're still gonna freaking kill this market. All right, you could do that. The link is down below. Use code GREECE. That is code GREECE. I will catch y'all in the next one. Everybody have a lovely rest of your night. I hope you kill it tomorrow, and peace.